body bags where horror lies.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Andrew Shroyer here, and as you can obviously guess, this is my first review for the channel, Body Bags. I'm really excited to be able to do this. Yeah, I just really honored to have this opportunity. Unfortunately, as you see here, I'm kind of wrapped up in a sling. A couple days ago, unfortunately, I tore my pectoral muscle, so that's why I got ice on it and everything. But which we have a convention, a horror convention here, Days of the Dead here in Chicago, which I'll be going to. It kind of puts a damper on that, you know, won't be able to move around as much or anything, but it's whatever. But yeah, for my first review, I don't think anybody else has done this before on the channel yet, but it's going to be Two Evil Eyes. Yeah, for me, in case you weren't aware of this movie, this is one I recently just picked up in October and just watched for the first time. It's basically two short stories from Dario Argento, or from Dario Argento. It's from Edgar Allan Poe, which I am a huge Edgar Allan Poe fan, and one of them is written and directed by Dario Argento, and the other one is written and directed by George Romero. So these are two of my top. They're both definitely in my top 10, if not top 5 favorite directors of all time. So I was really excited to watch and see what they could do with this. And for the most part, I really wasn't disappointed. Now, the two short stories are The Case of Mr. Baltimore, I think is how you pronounce it, and then The Black Cat, which those are two of my favorites. Again, definitely two of my top 5. I think The Black Cat may be my favorite short story. It was really good. So basically, if you've read the short story, it's basically a doctor comes in and interviews a guy while he's hypnotized and he's near death. And there's a lot of creepy sayings that the guy says, and pretty much this one just strays from that almost entirely. He gets hypnotized in the movie by a doctor, but there's a whole backstory. Adrienne Barbeau is in this. And basically the doctor and the wife are like sleazy, and they're trying to pretty much trying to rob this guy of his money while he's dying. So they turn the trust over to of Mr. Baltimore to the wife, and they're gonna run away with the money. Yeah, I didn't really care for that backstory really whatsoever. I really don't like the fact that they made these characters into dislikable characters, because then I actually just kind of didn't care what happened to them. But as for the direction and everything, it is a damn creepy movie. I really, yeah, for what it was really atmospheric, and I was really creeped out by the second half of it. I thought that it did a pretty good job at, definitely it's scaring, but I thought it did a good job at, coming to a good conclusion. I won't spoil anything. It's definitely spoiler free. But yeah, so I thought that if I were to give the first one like a rating, I would give it like solid 5.5, maybe 6 out of 10. The characters were, to me, just the worst part about this movie. I just didn't like any of the characters in this movie. And then the second short story, which I keep referring to them as movies because they are kind of two movies in one. The Black Cat, I thought the male character in this was phenomenal. Like I was pretty blown away by his performance. Now he's not exactly the same as in the short story. In the short story, the guy was once a good individual, and then he slowly descends into this awful human being. In this one, he's just an awful human being from start to finish. So it's kind of, she does refer back to when he was actually a good person, but you don't really ever see that in the story. And then there's also a couple things like instead of cutting the cat's eye out, which that would have been pretty messed up to do in the movie or to show or anything. He just kills the cat, straight up just kills the cat. which, you know, that kind of just skips to the second half of it, which this one definitely is the better of the two. Again, like, the rest of the characters are kind of unforgettable, and like the whole story is that he's, you know, there's the whole, like, his wife had like people she gave lessons for like, I think if I'm not remembering this correctly, I think it was violin, but it might have been guitar. I'm not entirely can't remember at this point. It's weird how I forgot that, but yeah, then the cat kind of returns, and you don't know whether it's the same cat or what happens. And then I'm not gonna, well, I will spoil this part because this is an integral part of the story. But he ends up killing his wife, hides the body, and it's kind of like he's trying to keep it away from the police. The police eventually get called, they come in and try to search the place and everything. So yeah, my thoughts on the second half of the one, I definitely thought this was definitely the more solid part of it. I didn't think that this was near perfect or anything like that. The thing that was missing for me is the atmosphere that was created was really good, but it wasn't anywhere near, say, a Phenomena or a Suspiria for Argento. And then also Savini's special effects in this, I didn't really think they were really anything special. I didn't really think, I mean, you had your typical, you know, Savini special effects in here, but I didn't think it was anything special. The transfer's pretty good. It's pretty solid. It's a Blue Underground release, so this is, Blue Underground always does really good transfers for both their DVDs and Blu-rays. But yeah, I thought that the second half I would give a solid 7 out of 10. So basically, if I were to combine the two into one film, I thought I would give it like a 6.5 out of 10, which I think on IMDb it's about like at a 6.4, 6.3. So yeah, it's right around there. I'm right around with what the average is. This isn't anywhere near their best work combined, but for what it was, I still enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. So, yeah, that's going to do it for my thoughts. Thanks, guys, for watching. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on this movie if you've seen it. And I'll see you again next week, guys. Thanks.